From the AM/FM 24/7 radio network, broadcasting from AM and FM stations around the country. Welcome to the Small Business Administration award-winning School for Startups Radio, where we talk all things small business and entrepreneurship. Now, here is your host, the guy that believes anyone can be a successful entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is not about creativity, risk, or passion, Jim Beach.
We are back, School for Startups Radio. I hope you're having a great day out there and that you decide to make a difference in your life today, and that today you go make a change and change something about it and get going. Grow your business, hire a new employee, or just go start that business that you've been dreaming of for so long. I have a great guest now, someone I'm excited to introduce you to. His name is Jordan Harbinger. He is the co-founder of The Art of Charm, which is an absolutely amazing learning platform for all sorts of self-improvement stuff in the dating relationships world, but it also is very important business people. He claims to teach men to be confident, women to be selective, and teach business people to be powerful and athletes to be the best. We don't care about that here on this show. The dating stuff and the business stuff is great, but and nothing else. Jordan, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks so much. I'm in LA right now, so it's one of the only times in LA when it's gloomy is the month of June. And by gloomy, I mean it's only 65 or 70, and the sun's only out for half the day, so I can't complain too much.
Well, that's still half the day better than we are here, I'm sure. So I appreciate you being with us today.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Tell us about The Art of Charm.
Sure. Well, the company does what we call live boot camps in LA and New York City. And what we essentially do is guys come to us from all over the world, and we deconstruct the elements of confidence and charisma. So body language, vocal tonality, eye contact, the way people sit, stand, walk, and talk. And what that does is creates physiology that is confident and creates people that are confident. So in the short of it, we'd sort of break you down and build you back up again, just like any other boot camp would.
Wow. How long does that take? How long does it take you to destroy these men and rebuild them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's somewhat of a long process, really. Although the boot camp itself is 6 days, and we have a 3-day option as well, that's not really where the magic happens. That's the intensive part of the experience. But before people come in, you get program prep, so you get phone coaching and an online academy before you come to the program. Then you're prepped. You've got all the background knowledge of the academic stuff and some drills and exercises to do on your own. And then when you come in, we go through the intensive experience where we really hammer a few points down. And then after your experience, we have a support network that includes phone coaching as well as an online system of support so that you can actually continue to struggle, face challenges, improve, learn, and all that when you're back on your own. Because it's really hard to change somebody overnight, basically impossible. 6 days is a little better, but not perfect. It really is a process that takes people months or years to get where they want to be. And so it's not just the week that you're here that does all the work or where the magic happens. There's really a lot that goes into it. So complicated question. Some people can come in, learn a lot in a week and be great. Some people need a little bit longer time, so we offer resources to everybody so that they can get what they need out of the program. And, we've got a global clientele. Somebody who's coming in and just moved to the United States from, say, China needs different types of help adjusting than somebody who's an actor in LA that just wants to learn how to network better. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sounds like I'm going to need the 60-day program, something like that. The 3 of the 6, I'm going to need the 6-year program, Jordan, I think.
The 6-year program?
I'm just going to need a constant wingman who goes with me for everywhere, everything. How about that? All right.
Okay. Well, we'll figure that out. We'll structure something for you.
All right. Is this for men only?
Yes, it's for men only. We offer phone coaching for women, but since our programs are residential in nature, and guys, as you can imagine, you don't have you can't have a room full of guys and say, all right, everybody, let's, discuss our insecurities for 6 days and figure out how to fix it with a girl sitting in the same room. It's not going to happen.
No, it's definitely not. All right, let's go through some of the things that you listed when you were talking about confidence and what you need to address. What are some of the individual pieces that you break it down? And you listed them really fast, but let's go through some of them again a little slower. Like things like, eye contact, body language, the way you dress. Go through a little of those things a little slower and give us some tips and pointers and give us some advice.
Sure. Essentially, we talk about nonverbal communication, and that has a lot to do with the way one is perceived. So when I say body language, vocal tonality, and eye contact, those are three sort of smaller channels, or I shouldn't say small, those are three channels of nonverbal communication. And that's really important because when we're looking to modify the way that we're perceived by other people, and we want to be perceived as more confident, we need to work on stronger eye contact, but yet eye contact that isn't creepy. Because everybody's seen the guy that won't look them in the eye and thinks, what's this guy's deal? Why won't he look anybody in the eye? It's highly unusual. Or you think, all right, this guy's looking people in the eye, but it's a little bit too creepy. And every girl out there especially understands what I'm talking about when I mention that.
Sure.
Too long eye contact, the creepy eye contact. And then in terms of vocal tonality, if you're mumbling, you're speaking quietly, that might be polite in certain cultures, especially Asian culture, things like that. But in America, we perceive it as a weakness. So a lot of people come in for sort of cultural modification, but other times people are just quiet or they're shy, and so they speak quietly, they can't be heard, or they have an accent. We need to fix that because if you're in a business setting and you say, well, I have an idea that might change the whole course of the negotiation, no one's going to listen to you. You really you've got to have proper vocal tonality in order to be perceived as competent, and that's huge. You can imagine in the workplace, you have an engineer that might be highly skilled, highly qualified, but if he can't express himself or his ideas, they're going to go unheard, unnoticed, and of course, that means that it's going to look like he's unheard and unnoticed and not doing his job. And you can't manage if you're like that. People won't respect you in a leadership position if you don't have those qualities. And, last but not least, in that sort of grouping, we have body language. A lot of people, when they walk into an interview, they'll be slinking around. They don't want to take up a lot of space. They want to be polite. Those people are generally not as well liked as people who have larger personalities, and there's science behind this as well. Granted, nobody wants the guy who splays himself out on your office couch, but you definitely want somebody who's going to come in and look at least somewhat confident in the fact that they know what they're doing when they apply for a position, especially if it's a position at any kind of large firm or any type of corporate environment. If you're an entrepreneur of any kind, you really need to make yourself known because, as you guys probably have noticed, being an entrepreneur is largely about making the proper connections to help your business grow. And if you can't do that because you can't maintain presence at a networking event or you can't start conversations with people out of the blue, and you can't grow your network, you're really limited in what you can do, even if you're highly technically skilled.
How much about this is cultural modification? What percent of your customers is culture inherently an issue?
Inherently an issue, probably about 5%. Okay. Most of our customers, most of our clients are domestic, local American or Canadian, North American, people. They're not dudes from India or Asia. We actually mostly deal with people who are already somewhat confident, at least, or very confident in a certain area of their life, but not another. So we might get special forces personnel in here, and they're the guys that are looking for any edge possible. So they come to the Art of Charm to get that edge, right? They think, all right, am I going to get an extra 1 to 5% or 10% edge on networking, social situations, meeting and attracting the opposite sex? Good, I want that. And then there's the guys that come in and they go, I'm great at my job, but I'm a software engineer. I make apps for a living. And when I go to a social situation, I feel completely outgunned, And so we get a lot of those guys and we say, okay, let's bring this guy up from level 20 to level 80, if you will. We'll get them a large swath of the way there. And that's really important for that as well. So we keep our programs very, very small. Again, they're residential, and we have an instructor for every 2 students while you're here. So no one slips through the cracks. Everybody gets tailored coaching, and that's really important. But, yeah, there's not a lot of cultural bias in what we do. A lot of people will say, well, that won't work in my country or my state or my city. And it's really not true. We've taught this program all over the world. The curriculum hasn't been needed to be modified at all. And our podcast, which we have at theartofcharm.com, that podcast, that sees downloads everywhere from Africa to Asia to Austin, Texas.
Wow,
so,
even Austin, Texas.
Everywhere. Even Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I didn't even know they could download videos there. Jordan, how much of this is personality modification? And I say that, I want preamble just a bit. I'm writing a book right now called Personality by Decision. It will be my third McGraw-Hill book, and it's talking about how I have changed my personality over the years. I used to be the shyest, most quiet, introverted person, and now my biggest thrill is speaking in front of a large group. And so I want to address that. The reason I'm writing it is because I was miserable as a kid. I absolutely hated my life, and I hated my personality. How much of what you're doing... Go ahead.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm not 100% sure I understood the question.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still preambling.
Okay.
How much of what you're doing is about changing the personality, or is it just giving me tricks that I would use in certain social settings? Here's the first 8 seconds you're with a girl. Here's what to do. How much of it's tricks and how much of it's really teaching me to be confident and really changing my inherent personality? You see what now do you understand the question?
Yeah, I do. It is 95% personality change, 5% tactics. So, and I wouldn't, I'd say 0% tricks, 5% tactics, and 95% actual personality modification. Because tricks are useless. That's great. You know how to make somebody feel bad about themselves or something. Good luck with that. If you need a little bit of a boost, you find yourself stuck in a certain type of situation, we'll give you a tactic to sort of reset yourself, calm yourself down if you're feeling nervous, things like that. But really, the best way to express confidence is to be confident, and the best way to be confident is to change your personality and internalize the concepts that make it possible for you to communicate confidence. So if you change your physiology, you have great body language, eye contact, vocal tonality, you know that what you do makes people feel comfortable. You're well versed in you've been doing drills here, making people feel comfortable, helping people open up, generating rapport, generating trust. If you internalize those concepts that we teach here on your boot camp, you're going to be able to make people feel like you're going to be able to make people feel great when they're around you all the time. And when people feel good around you all the time, when people trust you, that's when people want to do business with you as well. And that's when women want to date you, for example, as well. Because we all look for somebody who makes us laugh, someone that we trust, someone that we can rely on in both dating and business. And as you know, business is mostly people who know each other just doing business with their friends. A lot of times, even in big business, a lot of those contracts are sweetheart deals that go to somebody that somebody else knows. And I know personally that we've done business with vendors here at the Art of Charm, and we'd much rather choose a vendor that's run by somebody that we know who's going to take care of us that might be a little bit more expensive than a company that says, oh, well, I'll beat their price, and then we've got to worry about, are they going to perform? Are they going to perform to do exactly what we want? Are they going to perform to our satisfaction? All that guesswork is not worth the money. So, and the same thing is true in large business as well. You're always going to choose somebody that you know, that you trust, that you like. And so if you have those tools and those tools are internalized on your behalf, if we can communicate that to you and you internalize that, you're going to just be confident. You're going to be confident all the time. You don't have to fake it, and faking is a problem because people see through that. We see through that. Our gut says, something's wrong here. They're saying one thing, but I'm not feeling it. If you internalize those concepts and you actually are confident, you don't have to worry about somebody, quote unquote, finding out the real you, because the real you has shifted. You've had a core level identity shift from a guy that doesn't feel comfortable in his own skin to somebody who feels comfortable everywhere. And that's a huge advantage, not just for you and your anxiety level, but for your business and for your dating life.
All right, Jordan, give us the 2 best ways to start a conversation in these situations. So one is I'm at a networking event. There's a guy there I don't have anything. I'm not talking to anyone. I have a piece of chicken. He's got a chicken wing. He's not talking to anyone. How do I start that conversation? And then nice looking girl in an elevator. We're in the same building. We've seen each other 10 times. We've never spoken to each other. How do I start those two conversations?
Those are pretty easy. I'm glad to throw a little coach's pitch. The networking events are pretty easy, and same with the elevator. The thing is, everybody feels a little bit awkward in both of those situations. So you've got a major advantage there. For example, if you're at the networking event, you're eating a chicken wing, the other guy's eating a chicken wing. You're both waiting for somebody to maybe break the ice. So what you do or say doesn't have to be magical. It doesn't have to be amazing. I in fact found myself in a very similar situation just a few weeks ago. I was at a networking event. There were a couple people standing around being pretty quiet, and then we're like the usual crowd that seems to have gone to every single one of those events or talks for the last, half decade or something like that. They all knew each other, and you could just tell these people were new. Maybe they were new in town. And I went up to, they were eating some sort of appetizers, some sort of chicken skewer, actually. And I said, sometimes, I just think I come here for the chicken. And one of the guys started laughing. He's like, you know what? These are pretty good. And then we started saying, where did these come from? And I said, well, yeah, you know what? Actually, there's really good Middle Eastern food in my neighborhood. And he said, oh, I don't know. I'm really new in town. I thought, okay, bingo. This guy's not from here. This is probably his first time here. I said, oh, right on. Where did you come from? What's your name? What did you do out here? And it was a really easy flowing conversation because people are at those events to meet other people. They're there to create that network. They're there to become interested in others and have others become interested in them. So if you can start to then show interest in what he's doing, where he's from, he starts to feel, okay, I do have something to offer here. What you don't want to do is walk up and go, hey, Jordan Harbinger, here's my business card. Right on. If you ever know anybody that needs to learn how to date better, be more confident, go ahead and give me a call. All right, see you later. Because that's what a lot of people do at networking events. They'll shove a business card in your face, and it's like, Jordan Harbinger, used car salesman. Call me when you want a good deal. And then other than that, I don't want to talk to you because I'm on to the next person. Show a little bit of interest in people at those events. And it's much better to meet 2 or 3 people at one of those events, collect their contact information, make plans to do something, connect them to somebody else in your network is really powerful, someone that can help them, or arrange time to go out and meet for a beer or coffee. That's really powerful. It's much more powerful than meeting 20 people, collecting their business card or shoving yours in their face, and then leaving, because none of those people are ever going to call you unless your business card says instant cure for cancer, got a bag of money with your name on it, call this number below. No one's going to bother. No one cares. So if you develop those strong relationships with just a few people, that's how you build a network. And then, of course, a lot of people think, well, how can I help this person? Always, always, always look to whoever else in your network you can connect those people to. In other words, a lot of people go, well, I don't want to go to an IT networking event because I have no idea how to do anything in that. I don't need that right now. I don't need a web developer. I don't need a blog conference because I don't have anything to do with that. But if you find yourself at one of those events, even if just for the chicken skewers, you can find somebody who says, yeah, you know what, I'm a graphic designer. I just moved to LA. I'm looking for a little bit of work. And you go, you know what? One of my friends is starting a new website, and we were talking the other day. He's looking for graphic designers. Why don't I give you his email, and you can send some of your designs, see if you guys have some synergy there. Now, that guy owes me a solid because I hooked him up with a potential job, and the guy that I sent him to goes, oh, awesome, Jordan just sent me a graphic designer. I was just looking for a graphic designer. So you actually gave 2 people a favor, and it cost you about 5 minutes of writing an email. And that's one of the keys at these networking events that people don't really do. They think, I can't be helped or help this person directly, so I don't know what to do. I'm not going to bother. But that's not how you control that large network. That's not how you manage something like that. In terms of the girl in the elevator, or does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know I went off on a little tangent there.
No, that's awesome. But make sure you understand the girl's a hottie.
Yes, of course. Yeah, she's not somebody that you're not interested in. She's the girl in the elevator. You see her in the elevator. She makes you nervous because she's really, really good looking. you have thought a million times, oh, I'm in the elevator with this girl, I don't know what to say, and then she leaves the elevator and you go, yeah, well, next time I see that girl, I'm going to have my cool guy clothes on, and I'm going to, have my cool shoes on, and I won't be tired from work, and then I'm going to say something, and it'll be really funny, and then ... babies, right? Not going to happen. What's more likely going to happen is you're going to see that girl in the elevator again, and you're going to go, I just got back from the gym, and I'm sweaty, and so if I don't say anything right now, then she won't notice me, and that's okay because I'm not at my 100%. So better to just be quiet and look at the ground. Not true. Right? Not true. The best thing you can do is own whatever situation you're in. If you are going to the laundry room in your residential building and you're wearing your flannel PJs with a hole in the butt that your mom bought you when you were 17 that somehow still fit, and you're wearing a shirt that has a coffee stain down the front, she notices you already, so you might as well fess up and go, I didn't think I was going to see anybody else in the elevator. And to be honest, elevators are great because it's so awkward. If you notice, no one talks in the elevator. It's like the subway. No one's chatting in there. No one's doing anything. People are staring at the floor. It's always so awkward. The best thing, or one of the things, I shouldn't say the best thing, but one of the things that I love to do, and one of the things that's worked really, really well, and that I share with all the Art of Charm guys, is I always just call that out. If I'm in an elevator and there's 3 people in there, or even another person in there, and we're just not talking, I'll say, no one talk in the elevator. And everyone laughs every time because it's so obviously a silly situation. You're in an elevator. Why can't you talk? And the only reason is because of some weird psychological principle where you're all in each other's psychological space. And so it feels weird to invade that further by talking or chatting. And if you've noticed, if you're in an elevator with a friend and you're chatting with your friend and there's other strangers in there, it's totally fine to keep that conversation going with your friend, and other people are just quiet and they don't join in. But if other people are there and you start joining their conversation, it's never weird. If you're in an elevator and someone else talks, it's never really weird. It's just that they're the person that had the guts, they had the balls to break that ice. So if you say, no one talk in the elevator, or you can even say something like, you know what, isn't it weird that no one ever talks in an elevator? I never really understood why. And she will definitely, there's 2 things that will happen. She'll either mumble and keep staring at the ground, which is fine. I mean, she doesn't want to engage. Or she's going to join and go, oh, thank God somebody broke the ice, right? Now this doesn't have to be awkward anymore. There's other situational things that I like to do in elevators as well, especially I used to live in New York. Now I live in LA. There's a lot of tall buildings. One of the things I'll do is I'll go up to, say I'm going up to Sirius XM, which is like on the 40th floor of a building in Times Square. If someone else jumps in the elevator and pushes maybe 27 instead of 37, I'll say 27, take the stairs, and it's always so ridiculous because no one would ever take the stairs up that high. And it works even just as well in LA. Someone's on 3, but I'm going to 4. 3rd floor, take the stairs. And the more stuff they're carrying or the more grocery bags they have, the better, because it's clearly a joke delivered with a smile. All you need to do is break the ice. It doesn't have to be anything genius. As you just heard, nothing I've said it belongs on Comedy Central, right? It doesn't really matter because what people are looking for is a way to go, oh, thank God I'm not staring at the floor with the stranger in the elevator anymore. And if you want to go really genuine and really authentic, which I highly recommend if you can stomach it, if you can handle the pressure, tell her, hey, you know what, I see you in the elevator regularly. I don't think I've ever spoken to you, and introduce yourself. Because if you introduce yourself, she has to do the same thing. Social convention absolutely 100% calls for it. If she doesn't do that, this isn't a girl you want to talk to anyway. If she can't figure out that she's supposed to introduce herself after you do the same thing, she's obviously really disinterested, and you've either made her angry before and you don't remember, or she's really, really not into it. So it's really, really easy to break tension in elevators. You'd be lucky to meet a girl in an elevator like that because it's really an easy-peasy situation. It's much tougher, of course, at bars and nightlife venues where the social power balance is much different and definitely not in the men's favor. And we work on all of these things here at the Art of Charm. A lot of different situations. We run a lot of different drills. But again, 5% tactics, 95% personality shift.
I love it. Jordan, we're about to run out of time. I have one final question for you. I see you went to law school. Is that where they taught you to be so charming?
Definitely not. Lawyers definitely don't have.
It's quite a conundrum and oxymoron that you're the lawyer who's running the art of charm.
Well, the reason that it started was because when I was in law school back at Michigan, I thought to myself, I don't really know how I'm going to survive this career. How am I going to be in a room with these people for the next 20 years plus? I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to go insane. So I actually made darn sure that I went out a lot by myself, and I went out with friends that weren't lawyers, and I realized, wow, this is really an industry where there's a distinct lack of any sort of charm. And to be frank, the people that were charming and did have good social grace and did understand how people interacted with each other, they had a lot easier time in their career. They were the last to get laid off when those things were happening. They were able to get a lot of different job offers when things did go awry. They're the ones who bring in the clients for the law firm, which makes them more important to the partnership in the future. I mean, social skills aren't something that you only need in school. A lot of people like to convince themselves that that's the case, but there's somewhere listening to this, there's somebody coding something in a basement going, I don't need any of this crap. And then if they really think about what they do need or what they do wish they had, this is the skill set that's missing.
All right.
And there's a lot of single guys out there thinking the exact same thing.
That's right. All right, Jordan Harbinger, thank you so much for being with us. theartofcharm.com. Absolutely fascinating. We would love to have you back sometime.
Yeah, that would be great. And there's a lot of free stuff on theartofcharm.com, including our podcast. If you want to search in iTunes or just search for our podcast, it's at theartofcharm.com/podcast.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Jordan.